back, don't put on a show. When I pass by your house and blow, instead of knocking on your door. My party, you already know. And you spend my money, you give me on the down low. And I don't call back, don't put on a show. Shout out Texas.
Nate Jones.
One time.
Hey, Jones. Yo, man, how do you feel, man? How do you feel? You got an MBA yesterday.
Bro, I'm feeling good, man. You know, it's strange times, bro, but you know, I'm happy, bro. You know, I got good friends, good family, you know, people holding it down. I mean, I'm a happy dude, bro.
And tell us a little bit with the program, the school. Tell us, walk us through it.
Yeah. So I got my MBA from University of Texas in Austin. Been there for the last 2 years. You know, 2-year program. You kind of try to get general management experience across the board. So, you know, all types of different things. I was kind of interested in like private equity, venture capital, like impact investing stuff. So I spent a lot of time on like finance classes and really just hanging out with people like Trayvon and Scooter, you know? I mean, like you learn way more from their experiences equally as much as you do in the classroom as you do from real people doing things. So
I love it.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
I love it. My God, we're going to hear more from you during the first, the little break. So we'll come back. We'll throw it back.
Bet.
Trayvon, what's up, man? We're back. Man, how you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling, I mean, we sent a text out. I mean, all of this whole story arc is us sending texts and being like, hey, should we do this thing? And we're like, we should do this thing. Right? From the very first quarantine con to now this pitch competition. What is it like? The next day that we sent that text about doing a pitch competition, like we woke up, we're like, oh, 5,000 people. Actually, how many of those people do we know, probably have some businesses that are probably, having to pivot and make some changes, right? Who are probably really killing it right now and could use the capital. And so it was amazing. But yeah, I feel just inspired right now in this moment, right? Like here we are all being physically distant, but we're still able to come together. We're still able to bring founders to the table to like show their craft, right? And we've been doing this. We've been doing it with the virtual gym, right? Which we do on the Saturdays, where we're allowing those trainers to come in, still exercising, still being able to make some money, even though they're unable to kind of do it in their gym. So it's just, I'm excited to continue doing this, man. It's just, it feels good. It feels good.
I love it. No, there's always this funny moment, and the irony is not lost, right? That we look up and we're like, oh man, this is our 8th week, and it feels good that we've done so much in just 8 weeks. But then you also look and you're like, wow, this is also the 8th week of quarantine, right? And so being able to keep all of that into perspective and making sure, I think we just keep growing and keep fostering connection as much as possible. So I think to this point, in terms of community updates or just updates about what we've been up to, this is the 8th week. This is, I think, the 10th event. We've done 6 virtual gyms where we've had fitness instructors coming on training. We've paid out a little bit over $1,500, I think, to trainers, which has been pretty sweet to see weekend after weekend. We've been able to do a career fair where some of you are able to connect with recruiters, whether it be, from an internship perspective or young professional perspective. So that's been really awesome and fun. We launched a creatives fund with Cam Kirk. We had people learn about stocks and investing and REITs with Ashley and Rob from Amplify. So it's been a hell of a, we did a culinary showcase. So we had our friends cooking and teaching drinks and we had our house Atlanta in there, and it was fun. So now we're partnering with Collab, man. So I think without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of hop into what we're going to be talking about.
So we can't go without kind of explaining just a little bit more about the process, right? So obviously we're working with great partners with Collab, but we have someone else at the table too, right? So we have good folks at Color of Change. Good folks at Color of Change. They came on, they heard about the idea, and they wanted to contribute, right? They wanted to make sure that they were a part of the conversation of what it means to build up the Black entrepreneurship ecosystem, right? So today we have none other than the Jade from Color of Change. Let's bring her up so she could give a little bit. What's up, Jade?
Hey, y'all. How are you doing?
How's it going? Thank you all so much at Color of Change for partnering with us on this. And please just tell us a little bit more.
Sure. As they said, my name is Jade with Color of Change. For folks who don't know, Color of Change was founded in the wake of Hurricane Katrina when our founders realized nobody was worried about disappointing Black people. Since then, we've grown to 1.7 million members. We are a Black-led organization building Black political power, and so are 1.7 million members. We fought and won campaigns like forcing major financial institutions like American Express and MasterCard to stop processing donations for white nationalist hate groups. This past December, we worked with wedding websites to ensure that they would no longer feature plantation content. And we've been doing some tech work too. So, you know, we met Scooter and Trayvon about a month ago and have been really excited to hear about what's going on with Quarantine Con and the way that Black people are shifting the culture yet again. And we're here today because as culture and technology are shifting due to COVID-19, you know, before this, we did everything or a lot of things outside, and now everything from Bible study to birthday parties is on video conferencing. So we want to help Black entrepreneurs not only survive the pandemic, but really help put all of us in position to thrive during it and after. Right now, we're connecting Black entrepreneurs across the country with these intimate digital tech dinners. And we're forming an advocacy group, which is called 100 Black Entrepreneurs and Technologists. One of the very first things that we're doing and we've been doing is that we are lobbying Congress, and we're working with the firm and all of those things to ensure that Black businesses are included in the next stimulus package. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw that 99% of Black businesses did not receive, are not eligible for Paycheck Protection Plan funds. And Color of Change did a study about a week ago, which came out that said only 12% of Black businesses actually got to access it. And so we're trying to change that. So I'm wrapping up. If anything I said sounds interesting to you, please join us. Text business to 55156. Thank you to Scooter and Trayvon. So happy to be here today and so amazed at what you guys are doing. Thank y'all so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, we were like amazed, one, at the work that you are doing. I know that I'd seen Rashad, who's, you know, leadership over there, speak at the SoCap conference last year, and I was super impressed with just the work that was happening at Color of Change. So when they wanted to partner with us, I was like, oh, absolutely, this just makes sense. And, you know, why did it make so much sense? Because the people that we were already in partnership with that I'm super excited to bring to the table right now, right? So let's talk about Collab for a quick second, right? And we're going to let them do a little bit more. But I mean, Collab is amazing. So for entrepreneurs of color, specifically Black founders who are in the crowd right now, this is your one-stop shop, right? This is where you can go. They have something really dope called Collab Studio that we're going to talk about in a second, where you can come and you get the resources that you need that are tailored to you, right? How many places right now are tailored to you as a Black entrepreneur, right? And then ran by Black entrepreneurs, right? So we're going to talk about that real quick. The first person we want to bring up is one of the partners, Justin. Scoop, talk to us about Justin, bro.
Man, I met Justin at the gathering spot in Atlanta, and he's literally the tech guy, quintessential tech guy. Will get you started down tangents. Has experience at Google, and is just an all around. I think someone that really cares about the culture and helping Black entrepreneurs and Black founders. So let's go ahead and bring him up. I'd like to talk to him a little bit about Collab Studio and what we're doing.
Justin, what's up, bro?
In true fashion, repping Atlanta through and through.
Come on, fall. You know it. Easy.
Tell me why you love it. Real quick, in a few sentences, tell me why you love Atlanta. What's so special about Atlanta to you?
Oh, Atlanta's a special place. It's so special. I'm actually in the middle of a book about how special Atlanta is. Atlanta has a very deep, rich culture, and it stems all the way back to, for me personally, it stems back to leadership. As long as I've been alive and aware of policy and politics and culture, I've had Black leadership, Black mayor, Black city council persons, and those things permeate through. They allow you to grow up in an environment where you feel like you can achieve more, you can have an impact, and you can do more. And when you combine that with things like our HBCUs here and the culture here, the music and entertainment scene, the corporations that have found a way to root themselves here, the companies started. It's just so much. It's just such a rich and vibrant city. The weather's not bad either. Every once in a while when it's not too hot and pollen's not trying to kill us. It's a beautiful place. And so Atlanta's just a special place, and I love my city.
And so, in Atlanta, like to your point, there's a mix of different business leaders, entertainment folks, all around really, right? Students. And so you interact with these people on the daily, and what Collab Studio is doing is really bringing those people together, right? Usually they would probably be in silos. So if I had a business, I wouldn't really know a Grammy-nominated artist, or I wouldn't know an innovative young college student at Morehouse or Spelman or Clark. So can you talk to us about the studio? If I'm a founder, why am I coming to the studio? Why am I coming? And that's different than Collab Capital. So go into that a little bit for me.
Yeah, so Collab is a 3-pillar initiative that I won't get into all the details of for the sake of time. But Collab Studio specifically is our safe place for Black founders. And so everything ranging from founders therapy in partnership with Goody Nation, where we help founders kind of cope and deal and make sure that they don't feel alone in this journey, to something we'll be starting next month, which will be our founder dinners, which is all about creating connection, to Scooter's point around bringing folks that you may not necessarily have access to. We want to create a safe space and a place where you can have these discussions with business leaders, entertainment executives, maybe an athlete. And we're going to do that in kind of like a cohort interests subject matter kind of way. And so that's going to be very, very powerful for those that are, creating businesses and startups in certain industries and verticals. And so we're really just excited about that, as well as our other programming. We had a pitch deck event a few days ago to really help people refine their various decks. So it's a place where you can get resources, learning, education, and other materials to be prepared for the next milestone in your journey.
So if I'm someone in the crowd right now, let's say I didn't apply this go around for the pitch competition, I have an idea, I've been working on it. What's the best next step for me, and how can Collab help?
Absolutely. Perfect question. The next best step you can make is visit collabstudio.co. It's in the expo as you can see here on screen, and sign up for our email list and our newsletter, where we will share events that we're hosting, everything from, like I mentioned before, our founders dinners to our workshops, our labs, and any announcements that we feel that are pertinent to the community, to Black community and venture. So that's the next best step. And then always feedback. Tell us what you need. So use that contact form. Say, this is a problem that I'm faced with. These are the challenges. This is what I noticed in my community or my startup ecosystem, wherever you may be, and let us know. No,
I love it. So look, stay right there, stay put. Trayvon, who we got next coming up from the Collab side?
Yeah, no, super excited. We got Barry, Big Money Barry coming through. So I'm super excited to talk to Barry. Let's bring him up real quick. Let's bring him up. Barry, what's up, man?
Yeah.
What's up? So Barry, I'm gonna give you definitely some time to introduce yourself a little bit more. But the question I have for you, right, is like, when we talk about non-dilutive capital, right? We told folks that we were doing this pitch competition. They got into the details and they were like, yo, this is really for the culture, right? Like, y'all talking about really just y'all writing the check and that's it. Like, y'all putting your hands up, right? So tell us the importance of that, right? Because I know that you've experienced both sides of that, right? The investment side, the non-dilutive side. So give us a little bit about your journey, and then also tell us about like how big this moment is for this pitch competition.
Yeah, hold on, let me get my so y'all can see the curls, because they my hair, I had my hair about 2 months. You got to make sure y'all can see them. But yeah, man, I mean, non-dilutive capital is huge, especially for Black entrepreneurs. Being able to get money that doesn't jack up your cap table in these early stages, when nobody in this early stage, Black, white, brown, purple, you really don't know the value of the business. And so for Black entrepreneurs, a lot of times we get gouged at these early stages. And so a lot of us, especially early on before the ecosystem was really there, like, we built companies off of winning competitions early on. And so having this non-dilutive capital versus somebody coming in, throwing you a bunch of money and wanting, 30, 40% of your company. But want to speak a little bit and really shout out my partners and the rest of the Collab team. Have a little selfish moment here, but I think too many times we let moments like this go. There's a lot of people that talk a good game. There's a lot of people that say they want to, help the community. They say they want to, do certain things. And it takes a lot to, as I used to say back in my younger gambling days, like, put your money on the table. Like, you talk a lot, but like, put your money on the table. And that's exactly what, at Collab we've been doing from the beginning, right? It's like we support Black founders. We want to give them the tools, the relationships. But at the end of the day, not only is it the fund, but we're willing to in a non-dilutive fashion to get behind these fasters and put our money on the table and really put our money where our mouth is.
No, for sure, for sure. And again, that's what we needed to hear. We're gonna try to move forward. I had another question, but we're gonna move forward because we got one more. We got one more on the team that we are super excited. I told Scoot I was gonna let him do it, so I'm gonna let him do it. But I need everybody to know that I'm really excited about the other person we're about to introduce. But I told Scoot I'm gonna let him do it. So go ahead.
I think some of you remember Jewel from our very first quarantine con. She was one of the first texts that we sent out asking her to come speak, come talk. One of the more popular speeches from that day. Let's bring her up, Jewel Berg-Solomon. Woo! What's going on, Jewel? Man, we're back again, Jewel. I think, so number one, you've seen me cry as an entrepreneur. You've been there. You've seen the ups and the downs. I think, your story is one that's really remarkable, right? A founder out of Atlanta, hustling, right? And was able to get the company acquired by Amazon. So I want to kind of dig deeper into that story. Most people think, oh, when I have a business, it makes money from my clients and I can then pay payroll. Pretty simple, pretty easy, right? Can you talk about, and we're here at a pitch competition and you've done several of those. Can you talk about how you use pitches to help the company kind of keep operating, keep going, and have those creative solutions month to month?
Yeah. So first I'll say, if you have a business that is making money from day one and you can pay your staff off of that, by all means, please do it. That's amazing. That was not my story. I had to find ways to get money into the bank while we were still developing the technology. And pitch competitions was one of my ways. And it worked out for me. There was a conversation on Twitter maybe a week or so ago, and someone was downplaying pitch competitions and actually said they were dumb and stupid. And my perspective was, if you have it and you don't have to go this route, then good for you. But if you don't, and you need to find ways to get creative, to use your time wisely and enter these types of competitions, then there's no issue in that. And the cost of this type of capital is super low because it's really just your time to enter the competition. So I'm obviously an advocate because, $250,000 that I won in pitch competitions, I definitely wouldn't have been able to make it on the journey had I not gotten that cash. So I'm super excited that we're able to also give this money out today to entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things.
No, I love it. And so from there, I think, you kind of set the stage for pitch competitions, the beauty. We've got five finalists that are coming up, and they're going to be judged by 5 judges, right? Proven entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, experienced investors, a lot of good friends that are also on this panel as well. So I want to shift it over to you and have you introduce them and let the crowd kind of understand who's going to be behind some of the decision-making today.
All right. So super excited, you guys. We have so many great judges. I'm going to bring them right on up. Our first judge is Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson is the CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and he's a good friend. So super excited to have Ryan with us here today.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here.
Hey, Ryan. All right. Next, we have Donald Washington. Donald Washington, super smart guy, got his MBA from Georgia Tech. He is now a vice president and relationship manager within Commercial Bank of Regions Bank. And a special shout out to Donald because he is also a limited partner in Collab Capital.
Hey, I'm so inspired what y'all are doing and happy to be a part of it. Can't wait to meet the founders.
Thank you for being here, Donald.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Mandela. Mandela is the founder and CEO of Founder Gym, which is the first online training program specifically designed to help underrepresented tech startup founders raise money to scale their startups.
Hey, hey, hey. I'm so excited to be here, Jewel.
Thank you so much for being here. All right. Next, we have Maisha Leek. Maisha Leek is a venture capitalist with expertise in operations, business development, and fundraising. Thank you so much, Maisha, for joining us today.
Of course, glad to be here. Thank you, Jewel. Hi, everybody.
All right, so that is your judging panel for today, and me, by the way. I'll also be a judge.
Of course, I was like, mention that part. Good. Well, thank you so much, Jewel.
So again, you mentioned a lot of good names there, from Founder Gym to Human Ventures to the Gathering Spot. Really quick housekeeping note. So you're on the main stage now. If everyone clicks the expo on the left, you get to also view all those companies. You get to apply for the Founder Gym next cohort, which is coming up. You get to learn about Human Ventures, request for membership at the Gathering Spot, and then all the different finalists that are coming up. You get to see their companies as well. So without further adu, I think it's time to really hop into it, Trayvon. I think our first finalist is back here, which is exciting. Yep. Knees are heavy, arms sweaty, spaghetti, whatever Eminem said.
All those.
So yeah,
for sure. So let's bring them up. So first up, we have Julius Bryan. What's up, bro? We're gonna bring you up in a second with Jack's Rentals. We're super excited to have you here today. So we're gonna bring you up real quick. Make sure all the things are working. Julius, what's up, bro?
Hey, how's it going?
All's well, man. It's good to see you. Audio and visual are good. Listen, bro, you are good to go. We're going to go ahead and let you get into your pitch right now. When we throw the deck up, time starts.
All right. I can't see it. Is it up?
Yeah, bro, you're good to go.
Reynolds.
Hold up real quick, bro. Hold up. We had some quick audio. Hold on real quick. Let's figure out what's going on with that. Let me fix it. Go ahead, say something real quick.
Yep, test.
Test. Okay, I think we are good to go. I'm gonna try to leave you here. All right.
Good.
You're good.
Are we good, Trayvon?
Yep, Julius. Hey, man, this is Scooter. You're good to go.
All right, cool. All right, thank you all for being here. I'm Julius Bryan, founder and CEO of Jack's Rideshare Rentals. Before I started Jack's, I spent some time working at Amazon and GE learning about customers, but it's not about me today. It's about Jada. Jada's a 34-year-old mother of two who relocated to Atlanta for a fresh start. Jada doesn't own a car, and she spends about 90 minutes on a bus each way to her part-time job, where she just barely makes enough to cover the expenses for her and her two kids. She wants to drive for Uber or Lyft to make some extra money, but because she doesn't own a car, she's excluded from these opportunities. Jax is solving this problem. On a monthly basis, 50,000 people sign up for ride-sharing platforms for the first time, and 40% of them, like Jada, don't have access to a qualifying car. Jax rents vehicles to this demographic, increasing their mobility and empowering them to make money through ride-sharing. Here's what makes our solution preferred to our competition. We're platform agnostic, and our drivers can use our cars for any ride sharing or delivery service. We also have a driver-centric payment structure that allows for daily payments as opposed to weekly payments, which means our drivers pay less cash up front and we never touch any of their earnings. Finally, we have the most comprehensive insurance policy for our drivers. It costs 20% less and has a deductible 150% less than the next closest competitor. Before COVID, our drivers spent the majority of their time in ride hailing, i.e. moving people to things like shops and restaurants. Our vehicle acquisition strategy reflected this as we bought cars suited for passenger pickup, and during the peak of the pandemic, we saw ride hailing demand drop as much as 70%, which posed a significant threat to our business and to our drivers. To the contrary, we saw a spike in demand for delivery services, i.e. moving things, food, groceries, and other products to people in their homes. We quickly shifted our strategy and began buying cars aligned with the less stringent vehicle requirements for delivery platforms. We bought slightly older and smaller cars at lower costs, and we passed these savings along to our customers. This allowed us to get more cars to more drivers when they needed them the most. We opened a dedicated support line for drivers to learn about the delivery platforms in Atlanta and ask questions about setting up their accounts. Finally, we allocated some of our earnings to a driver support fund to help drivers who struggle to make their payments during the pandemic. This shift allowed us to expand beyond ride sharing alone to create inclusion in the gig economy at large, including deliveries. Through 2020, we'll continue diversifying our fleet and adjusting to trends in the market. We're also excited to launch our customer-facing app later this year and our dealer management platform early next year. With the platform, we'll begin working with dealerships who have excess vehicle inventory, renting their cars out to our drivers and retaining a portion of the earnings. It's a super scalable solution that provides new income for dealers and feeds directly into our bottom line. We're currently seeking investors and developers to come along for the ride. Thank you for your time. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Thanks, Julius. That was great. My question is, thinking about the inventory, I know you were able to acquire some additional cars during this COVID time. What is your plan? I heard a little bit of this, but just want you to go a bit deeper into what's your plan for continuing to acquire those vehicles? And are you actually purchasing them outright, or are you taking on any leases or anything with those vehicles?
Yeah, so our plan is to continue acquiring vehicles as we progress through the business. We're profitable already, and after we pay our bills every month, we have enough money left to go in and buy a couple more cars every month. So the plan is to continue building out the fleet that way. And we do buy the cars outright. We don't have any leases. We have taken on some debt to help grow the size of the fleet, but there are no leases on the vehicle, so they're purchased outright.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Julius, thanks for your presentation. My question is about your team. Who do you have now, and who do you imagine you'll need to add to the team or as time goes on?
Yeah, so right now it's just me and my co-founder, Max, who we both went to business school together. So it's been just us two for the past 18 months since we started the business. We will be looking to hire soon. The first hire is likely going to be a director of sales who we have already have someone in mind for. That's going to be a critical piece for the business as we continue to acquire cars. We're looking to get the best cars at the best price and someone who's connected in the industry who can help do that. Then also on the flip side, a key piece of profitability is how quickly we can liquidate the assets when they get to the end of their lives. And that sales director will be able to help with that too.
All right, thank you. So my question is, what % of your drivers transitioned over into this new direction of transporting things?
So prior to COVID, I would say about 90% of our drivers were doing ride hailing exclusively on Uber and Lyft. After COVID, obviously the demand for ride hailing dropped significantly. So in that first week where we started to see the shelter in places, our drivers migrated over to delivery platforms very quickly. And we saw 80% of our drivers sign up for delivery platforms in that first week.
Hey, thanks again for your presentation. My question is really around industry regulation. I'm just curious, how are you looking to scale in the industry that, from what we've seen, has historically been affected by the evolving regulatory landscape? And in most cases, the regulation is mainly controlled by local governments, and it may differ based on geography. Just curious to know how you all are looking to tackle that.
Yeah, so the most impactful regulation right now really is just the qualifications for drivers for us. So we've actually recently partnered with a new company who's doing background checks, which actually is twofold. Obviously, it implements a layer of safety for the driver and the passengers that they're carrying, but also a layer of safety for us in case something goes wrong with those drivers. So we hired this company specifically to do background checks. And they check not only like the motor vehicle records of the drivers and things like that, but also all the way down to terrorist lists within America to make sure this driver has not shown up on any of those. So that's really the biggest piece of legislation and regulation that we need to be aware of is the qualification of drivers.
Thank you.
Julius, thanks for your presentation. My question is kind of along the same lines. It's an interesting choice for a transportation company to decide to own and not lease. And how are you and your co-founder thinking through depreciation of that asset? As an example, when we get on the other side to whatever the new normal is, imagine a world that ridership returns to some degree, and those platforms have specific standards for who can drive based on the quality of the car. You know, how do you plan to navigate the depreciation of the assets that you purchase?
Yeah, so we actually have depreciation built into all of our models. We see depreciation on average about $220 per month per car. And we actually are very careful in the selection of our cars. We make sure we buy all of our cars undervalued. So a quick story, just a few weeks ago, we bought a new car, a Honda Civic for $9,000. And we put a driver in that car. They were in the car for about 2 weeks. And within that 2-week period, they crashed the car and they totaled it. So that $9,000 car that we purchased, we actually got a check from the insurance company for $13,000. So that kind of gives you an idea of the gap in value that we see when we buy a car. So that in and of itself kind of helps us with the depreciation on the back end. So we're still able to recoup a lot of our investment on the back end when we do sell the asset.
That's interesting. What year was that car? And so you, and when the cars get old, you don't plan to put them on a rideshare platform that won't allow them.
Right, exactly.
All right, Julius, amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Julius, bro. You killed it, man. You killed it. We feeling good. We feeling good. We feeling good. Listen, bro. That was amazing, man. That was absolutely amazing. You did great. You did absolutely amazing.
That's really crazy about your preparation, man. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, just thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. You killed it, bro. Yeah, man. We'll talk. We'll see you a little later, man. So yeah, no, we feel good. We feeling good. We hyped up. That was one. That was one. All right. So next up, we have everybody's a the Jasmine from Cherry Blossom Intimates. Let's get her up. Let's get her up. Jazz, what's up?
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm great. That was a great pick.
Good. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. I mean, I'm excited to see yours. We're gonna do a little quick test run, make sure everything's tight. Yep, we are good to go. Go ahead and let's test your audio.
All right, can you hear me all right?
We can. All right, I'm gonna hop out and I'm gonna populate the judges in.
Hi, judges. Okay, it looks like I see everyone, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so guys, I want you to drop a heart for me in the comments, in the chat right now if you know a breast cancer survivor, okay? And then I want you to drop a smiley face if you know where she shops for bras. I've spent the last 3 years of my life dedicated to answering this exact question. I'm on a mission to use intimates and inclusion to be impactful across the globe because every woman deserves to feel beautiful. Meet Josephine. Josephine experienced a double mastectomy, which is the life-saving surgical removal of both breasts. She shopped at a medical supply store and searched for prosthetics that matched her skin tone and fit her body. Unfortunately, she died without ever experiencing what I've now made possible, which is the perfect fit. Josephine was my grandmother. Would you want your grandmother shopping in a store like this for bras? Neither did I, but this is exactly where most American women shop. They shop behind aisles of bedpans, walkers, and laxatives for bras and breast forms for the rest of their life. Through innovation and inclusion, I've created Cherry Blossom Intimates, a business designed to help breast cancer survivors in a new way. We have found a way to house an accredited medical facility within a lingerie boutique atmosphere. We specialize in breast prosthetics. We handle all medical billing in-house and perform bra fittings in over 200 sizes for women that have not experienced breast cancer, so that all women can shop alongside their mothers, granddaughters, sisters, and friends. Our most popular bra size is a 40 band and a G cup. But what's most special about us is our offering of custom breast prosthesis. Using 3D printing technology, we build new breasts, offering these prosthetics in 36 different skin tones. We can also add freckles and veins. We can even customize her nipples. All of this happens in a beautiful space so that women can shop with dignity. We pride ourselves in being a high margin and a high lifetime value business, as breast prosthetics are insurance reimbursable and patients are able to refill their prescriptions with us annually. We were poised for exponential growth in 2020, and then COVID happened, forcing us to close our doors and figure out a new way to provide the same level of care that our customers know and love. So we pivoted our business model to emphasize care-focused remote experiences and community building through virtual fittings, direct-to-consumer delivery services, and virtual Q&A sessions with our in-house physician and bra fitting team. As COVID-19 sparked the introduction of new Medicare guidelines, virtual prosthetic fittings are easier than ever before. COVID-19 has emphasized the need to integrate telehealth into our business model. We are now in the pre-production stages for an app that does just that. We've been closed for 67 days, but have had incredible traction with our new business model. More than 3.5 million women in the United States are currently living with breast cancer. 268,000 new cases will be diagnosed this year alone. This is a troubling number, but it also represents a wide market share and an opportunity to help millions of women. National retail has neglected the breast cancer survivors that we all know and love. This $25,000 prize will help us to achieve our goals faster and stronger than we ever could alone. I'm here to revolutionize the post-mastectomy experience for all women across the globe, and I hope that you will join me. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Great presentation, Jasmine. This topic is personally near and dear to my heart. My question is about this pivot. So is the idea long-term to continue with what you've been doing over the last 2 months, or do you plan to go back to the more brick and mortar side of the business?
It's a two-pronged approach. Our customers love us in the brick and mortar space, but we realize now that we will need to reach women outside of this. Prior to COVID, we were planning a 7-city tour across the nation where we brought these fit services and pop-up experiences. God forbid this global pandemic ever happens again. We would love a new way to reach our customers. So we believe that this app would do just that.
Thanks.
All right, I think I'm up next. Again, I want to echo what Ryan said. Wonderful, wonderful presentation and very close to my heart as well. My question is really about the lifetime value of these customers and how many times you anticipate they're going to be purchasing from you over what span of years. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, so these items are completely reimbursable by medical insurance by law, and women are able to come back and receive refills in their prescriptions annually or biannually, depending on the product. For our custom breast prosthetics, that's $7,000 per patient who's had a double mastectomy per year. So there's a lot of benefit in that. And also, post-mastectomy bras are fully insurance reimbursable as well, and insurance companies will bill up to 12 bras annually. So we're able to just refill these prescriptions for these ladies almost just on a regular rolling basis. They'll know, okay, every 3 months, I expect 4 bras to now come in the mail.
Again, yeah, this is very personal to me as well, and thank you for your presentation. My question, you all seem to offer a significant amount of product offerings and customizations, and that's all amazing value to your client, but it seems like it can be very capital intensive for you as a business owner. I'm just curious if you can speak a little bit more about your inventory management process.
We have a big back room back there. So we keep items on hand, but for custom prosthetics, we don't need to keep that on hand. That manufacturing is done in an offsite facility. So we don't have to worry about actually storing those items. We do keep bras in over 200 sizes in our back room. And we also have traditional prosthetics in sizes 1 through 17 in case the woman isn't interested in customized options. And we keep those stored in the back as well. Because the profit margins are pretty good on them, it's okay for us to be able to hold the inventory because we know that we'll have ladies who will come in and shop and buy them.
Thank you.
Hi, Jasmine. Similarly to Donald, I'm thinking about growth and what that looks like for you. The way you describe your process and the product, it sounds very customized with the exception of the ones that you have off the shelf that don't require customization that you just mentioned. Tell me about your goals for distribution, like a Target, a Walmart. What are your goals or targets, your priorities for partners that can get your product in the hands of more people? Or are you thinking less in that vein, that customization is really the heart of your business?
I think that customization is a really important part of Cherry Blossom, but we have been in talks with major department stores prior to COVID about having our post-mastectomy bras carried in their stores. I can't say the name, but it was a really big one. Prior to all of this happening, they're still interested. So as long as they're still around in 2021, there'll be a distribution channel for our post-mastectomy bras.
Hi, Jasmine. I echo everyone's sentiments as far as this really hitting home and honestly trying to hold back tears during your presentation. So thank you for that. My question is about the split of your business and kind of where you see the bigger opportunity for growth. Is it more so on the side of the intimate wear, or is it on the 3D printed prosthetics?
It's all about prosthetics. So if I were to imagine my company in the next 5 years, we'd be the Warby Parker of post-mastectomy prosthetics. So a woman would easily be able to even fit herself from her handheld device, and we'd be able to send her items directly to her, and then she can just pay for what she keeps. That is the ultimate goal of our company, and to have a presence in every major city in every state across the nation so that all women can receive this type of care at such a high level and such a loving feeling, if that makes sense. I think that nationwide, our market has completely neglected the feelings of breast cancer survivors as they shop. And we're really interested in filling that void and fulfilling that role for women across the nation.
Well, thank you so, so much. You did an amazing job. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yo, Jazz came with the heat. Yo, shout out to the moss wall, right? Like, I just need everyone to know that this is a real moss wall. It's a live. Yeah, now when you let me know that, I was like, oh, that's next level for sure. So yeah, shout out to that.
Time, so.
Yeah, shout out. Well, we'll see you a little later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmine.
All right, here we go. Let's keep it pushing. That was two.
Yeah,
that was two. Here we go.
Going wild right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Next up, we have the James Lott representing Script Health. Let's get him up. Here we go. James, how's it going, man?
Hey, doing very well. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Let me make sure that the audio is good. Okay. Video is a little staticky, but I think we're going to be good because your audio is coming in clear. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Let's do a quick test. This is why we test. It's all gravy.
I think, in the order of magnitudes, right? You've got like, Easter speech, spelling bee, pitch competition for $25,000. I think that's like we're hitting pretty high magnitude right now. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm also just enjoying how well the flow is going, right? Like judges can just quickly ask their questions.
Yeah.
Founders can quickly respond. Like, I mean, it's working, right? Like everything that we thought about, like when we sent the text, like, yo,
it's always a good feeling.
Yo, Collab, y'all trying to do this? They were like, yeah. We'll do a little pitch competition. We'll do it. And it was like, nah, it's gonna be great. And it's happening. Okay, here we go. I think we got James back. James, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you.
Got it. No, we are good now. I'm going to throw your deck up now. Let's make sure we're good on that. I see it. Boom. We are all good to go. I'm going to leave you, brother, and I'm going to populate the judges now.
Oh, I think you forgot him.
Okay. Going to go ahead and get started. All right.
Yep, I'm going to populate them up and you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you. So Script Health enables pharmacists to provide easy access to essential and life-saving tests and treatments. And hi, my name is James Lott. I am a pharmacist and a public policy expert. I'm the founder and CEO of Script Health. We launched our company in 2019 with our first product, Naloxone Exchange, the nation's first direct-to-consumer platform for online ordering and shipping of the life-saving opioid antidote Narcan. Our platform was awarded honors from MIT and the Clinton Foundation for our innovative work against the opioid crises. Unfortunately, the unprecedented COVID-19 global pandemic exposed the truth. That's that we don't have the physician capacity or infrastructure to meet the needs of accessible and equitable care. Physicians are overburdened, patients are underserved, and the total cost of healthcare, it just continues to increase. 90% of people in the US do live within 2 miles of a pharmacy, yet this 300,000 doctorate-trained healthcare professionals, they're underutilized. So we're commercializing the innovative practices that we used prior to enable community pharmacies to provide additional services. So the Script Health SaaS platform is a tool that enables pharmacies to easily prescribe non-diagnostic treatments, such as birth control, and point-of-care testing like flu tests and COVID-19 testing. When our platform goes live, the healthcare system is going to benefit. Patients will have increased access to essential and life-saving treatments. Physicians and providers, they'll be able to practice at the top of their license, and payers have a lower cost option available for healthcare. And finally, our pharmacy partners can introduce higher margin services and increase foot traffic to their existing brick and mortar stores so that they can provide broader access to care. And just so you know, this is already happening. In some states, legislation allows pharmacists to expand their services and write prescriptions. In other areas, pharmacists and physicians can form an agreement so that the pharmacist can prescribe on a physician's behalf. The scripted SaaS platform automates these agreements and streamlines the process for pharmacists to offer these services. That way, community pharmacies will pay a monthly subscription fee and a fee per transaction, allowing us to scale with them. And we've already identified about 10 treatments and tests that represent a $120 billion market opportunity. When we go to market, we'll target independently owned pharmacies before approaching the large retail chains. And just so you know, we're since pivoting, we were selected in the inaugural Emerge Accelerator cohort sponsored by SoftBank and WeWork. And we've also been connected with the National Community Pharmacy Association. And next week, we're speaking with executive leaders at Walgreens. We are a proud team of product managers, healthcare professionals, and MBAs that met at the University of Chicago, and our advisors have over a century of experience. With this pivot, our top priority is investing in product and development talent. So we're really looking forward to introductions to talented engineers and investors to underwrite making this product a reality. We're Script Health, and we provide easy access to essential and life-saving tests and treatments.
All right, great job, James. So thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. My question is really around the buyer. And I think you said it's going to start with independent pharmacies. And I'm always interested in what is the thing that is really going to get them to say yes? Like, how do you build trust as quickly as possible to turn them into a prospect and into a buyer?
Absolutely. So our team is one of the best in the pharmacy space. We have already done this before, and we know pharmacists' pain points. For instance, one of our leading advisors, he launched the immunization program or the vaccination program at Walgreens over a decade back, which now they're doing billions of dollars in that. So we know how the pharmacist operates, the exact tools and their pain points, and we're basically designing a system with them in mind. So these 10 or 15-minute processes, we can consolidate that time, give them their time back, and increase revenue. So it's just a no-brainer at the end of the day.
What is their number one pain point?
Their number one pain point is time. And so the way the scripted platform works is we're streamlining the entire process for prescribing for them and making it very easy to sign up. And every time they write a prescription using our platform, they will be able to charge that back to either the payer in the long term, and in short term, they'll be able to charge the patient for those prescriptions, prescription service rather.
Thank you.
Hey, James, thanks for your presentation. My question is really centered around, I guess, consumer perception in this space right now. With the large opioid addiction type concerns, particularly in your space, that's really kind of driven by folks thinking that the ease of getting access to these types of drugs is really driving that tragedy. I'm just curious to see, how you anticipate that impacting your business or really just your overall value proposition.
And so just to be clear, you mean that the ease of access to like opioids in particular?
Correct.
Yeah. So correct. The services that the drugs and tests that we will offer, they will have more of a public health impact. So think access to birth control, think access to EpiPen, Narcan, which is the opioid overdose treatment. And then tests, flu tests, COVID, strep throat, UTIs, to name a few. Those are great for public health services for a point of care, so people can just walk up to their pharmacy and get these. Drugs that are not the best for this model are drugs that treat chronic conditions, so heart disease, long-term pain, anxiety, depression, those things. I think that those are best fitted for the doctor to treat.
Thanks for your presentation, James. My question is really about market differentiation. So here in New York, Capsule Health has this service, right, to some degree. I think what I'm hearing is you're describing the distinction for Script is that you do therapeutics and personal diagnostics. if that's right, tell me how perhaps it's about the customer. How are you different or navigating around essentially what the bullet train that is Capsule Health and other sort of direct-to-consumer pharmacy platforms?
Thanks so much for your question. Yeah, so we've really been looking at this space. At first, we were, prior to COVID-19, we were actually, some people might consider Capsule our competitor. But what we found out was that space is very crowded. But in this transition to telehealth, people are forgetting that healthcare is local. And we've seen that during COVID-19, where people would like to go get treatment now, but they just can't. So what we're doing is we're equipping the pharmacists with those tools so that they can provide these low risk but very necessary services so patients anywhere and everywhere have access to treatment. As again,
to clarify, so my confusion is a doctor is not involved with Scripps model. A doctor is not necessarily involved, whereas though Capsule requires the full sort of support chain for diagnostic and therapeutic. Is that what you're saying? That's the difference?
Yeah. So the difference is with the Script Health model, we basically facilitate a platform that allows a pharmacist to collaborate with a doctor with so that they can have a contract so that the pharmacist can test and treat with different services that are already, they're standardized. And it just facilitates the process. Otherwise, the pharmacist wouldn't be able to allow these services in their communities, and the care wouldn't be provided.
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. One last question. Can you talk a little bit about how regulations and the regulatory environment impacts your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things. I used to teach a pharmacy law, so I'm for about 2 years. And each state has different regulations. But one regulation that the majority of states have in common is for the collaborative contracts. 48 out of 50 states allow pharmacists and physicians to collaborate to standardize these types of protocols. So we're making that process easier for the pharmacist to get access. And then through technology, we're standardizing the protocol. So whatever the doctor ordered is followed through when the patient comes to the pharmacy and wants those treatments. So it's saving the patient, the pharmacy, and expanding access to care.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, James. Really appreciate it.
All right.
James, how you feeling, man? That was
not too
great.
Bad. Not too bad.
Oh,
so,
you were slicing and dicing. You was ready.
So thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're killing that. We'll bring you back in a second. Man, we are moving through this. This feels good. This feels good. Next we have Patrice with Go Logic. Let's see if she's ready. Let's bring her up. Hold up. Let me make sure. Do I see her back here? Yes, I do. Patrice, how's it going?
It's going good.
How's it going,
Patrice? Beautiful. We see you. It's beautiful. Okay, let me let's test the deck. Let's test the deck.
All right.
Deck test. Deck test. Boom, we got it. All right, we're good to go. I'm gonna populate the judges for you, and then you are good to go.
You're good to go. Hey, Jasmine, or hey, Patrice, sorry. Hey, Patrice, you're good to go.
All right. My name is Patrice Darby-Nilly. I'm a second-generation entrepreneur and the CEO of Go Logic. 90% of parents say they would pay for safe, reliable transportation, but only 10% of childcare businesses offer it, missing out on a $51 billion opportunity. Why? Because it's expensive, inefficient, and it lacks the tools to ensure transparency and safety. Before COVID-19, our logistics SaaS platform provided childcare centers with an innovative transportation solution, utilizing their trusted and vetted employees. The platform created the platform created impact throughout the entire ecosystem. Owners diversified their revenue and increased their bottom line. Underutilized workers stopped juggling multiple jobs by transporting children during their off hours, and parents gained peace of mind knowing their child was in good hands from door to door. We secured strategic partnerships with the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago and the Women's Business Development Center, representing $79 million in ARR in the state of Illinois alone. By March, we were on the verge of closing $1 million investment round and launching with 60 childcare businesses, projecting $1.2 million in annual revenue. On March 19th, COVID-19 wiped out our entire raise and childcare centers shuttered. Our revenue dropped to zero overnight. It was in this moment I asked myself, who needs us now? This led us to small businesses who make most of their revenue from foot traffic, like restaurants, retail stores, local grocery stores, and pharmacies. COVID-19 has caused 2 million minority-owned businesses to shut down, and it's created the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. Our technology and model helps small businesses put their laid-off workers back to work, retain more revenue, and utilize data to build sustainable businesses. And we've enlisted strategic partners to help small businesses reopen with the GoLogic platform, and we're onboarding 100 small businesses currently. 25K will help us reopen 150 small businesses and create 750 jobs. Judges, a vote for GoLogic is a vote for your community. Small businesses are the bedrock of our economy, and we have the power to drive generational wealth to our local communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrice. I appreciate your presentation today. One thing that you kind of ended with was the 25K could really go to growing or reopening small businesses. I'm just curious if you can expand a little bit on specifically how you plan to use the 25K.
Yeah, so what our team would like to do is actually offer grants to 150 small businesses. We've been boots on the ground in our local economy, neighborhoods here in Chicago, and listening to them. Just having a free month on the platform would allow them to get their businesses reopened and call their workers back to work.
Thanks for that answer. My question was really about the regulatory environment. So you mentioned earlier that folks were delivering, carding children for childcare. What are the new challenges, I guess, you see post-COVID with how you guys have pivoted?
Let me make sure I understand that question.
Now that COVID has hit, help me understand, right? What are the new challenges facing your business? At one point, it was moving children around. What's the biggest challenge facing your business right now?
Yeah, I would say we've been listening to our small business owners, and what we're hearing is that a lot of them couldn't, like for example, a restaurant. A lot of restaurants had to close down because the third-party delivery services were not feasible from a revenue standpoint. They were taking 20 to 30% commission. And so for doing deliveries or curbside pickup with these platforms, it's not cost effective. It's not really built for small businesses. And so that's the greatest challenge that we see. Some of them have had to shut down, and then others have dropped in revenue by 50%.
Patrice, can you just, I heard a bit of the pivot, and I know that it was a strong pivot. Can you succinctly tell us exactly what the new product is and just help us understand that a little bit more?
Yes. So it's a logistics SaaS platform. It allows businesses to execute curbside pickup, delivery, as well as understanding what products are being purchased in their store, understanding the data behind it, so that they're able to actually structure their business in a way that increases revenue and helps them be sustainable to weather the storm if something like this happens again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Patrice, thanks for your presentation. Just a quick follow-up to Jules' last question. So just to make this simple, who are you directly competing against in this space now? Is it some of the larger players, I imagine, that we all know, or am I not thinking about who the competitors are?
It depends. In the restaurant space, it's clear because you've always needed some type of logistics to do delivery. So we're competing against Uber Eats, Grubhub, where they're taking 20 to 30% commission. And a lot of businesses are saying, I'd rather close because this does not make sense. In the retail space, the pharmacy space, and local pharmacies and local grocery stores, what we're learning is that these small businesses have not digitalized themselves. They don't have a logistics solution. And so for us, we don't see a lot of players in this field. And talking to our small business owners, they are, when they had to shutter in place or they had to convert their business to delivery and curbside pickup, they dug online for solutions, and some of them were trying to hack a solution, but a lot of them, their response to us was, we need this now. There's nothing like this. We need this now. You mean we can upload all of our inventory and it's fully automated? Like, you know, that was huge for them.
And so, quick follow-up. So how have you gone about customer acquisition? Talk to us about the marketing and that part of the journey.
Yeah, so we're really big on partnerships. When we started GoLogic in the beginning with childcare centers, we found strategic partners. We went back to those partners because they have small business development centers like the YWCA and the Women's Business Development Center. And we presented to them and they jumped right on board. And then we started calling our local chamber of commerce here in Chicago, and they jumped on board. And then 1871, which is one of the largest tech incubators in the Midwest, they jumped on board because their whole focus is how do we help these businesses reopen? And how we approach this problem made sense to partner with us.
Thank you.
Got it. And my final question is, how do you know, or when do you know this is an idea worth continuing? Because this is a big shift from what you were doing before between working with childcare centers and the parents and entrusting your platform to transport children around. And this is now focused on small businesses and keeping them employees employed, all that stuff. So at what point will you know if this, like, you should keep doing this? Is it a revenue goal you're after in 2020? Be like, okay, now I know I'm going to put more muscle behind this.
Yes. So I want to share one thing. When we think about small business logistics, we don't want to eliminate childcare. Childcare is not happening right now because they're shuttered, but they will come back. And our logistics platform, how we build it to be automated, solves the solution for small business owners who are childcare providers as well. And so how we see it is our goal is that this year, we're tracking jobs created, jobs retained, and businesses reopened and revenue generating. And so how we're measuring success is by that socioeconomic impact.
Welcome. Great job, Patrice. Thank you so much.
Patrice, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That was easier than I thought.
Listen, you had it. You had it the whole time. You was flowing. You was flowing. No sweat. No sweat at all.
Well, you're prepared.
We absolutely loved it. We'll see you back in a second. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
So look, we're on our last company. I think, you know, as you're bringing them up, I think some great things I want to just pull out for hopefully the folks in the chat and other entrepreneurs, right? You just heard Patrice, right? Projected to make $1 million overnight, projected to make 0. And I think, you know, just the stone cold just perseverance to kind of keep pushing through and find the pivot was great. I think Mandela's question was great also too. Like, right, what's the goal? Where are you headed? How do you know when you're going to stop or change again? So continuing to put one foot in front of the other. And then I think another thing, just overall, you know, when the judges are having questions, you're not really getting defensiveness, right? You're getting just mainly them being open and being able to explain and walk the judges through. You know, everyone says, you know, your business better than anyone, but being able to explain it is super important. So I hope everyone in the chat is taking notes for when on the stage. But Trayvon, take it away.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And next up, and this is something I just noticed right now, which is hilarious. I think this is my cousin coming up. I don't actually know. Just I noticed that the last name was Hill. This is kind of crazy. But we have next up Andrew Hill representing Lifted. Hold up. What's up, bro? Oh no, you muted, man.
Can you hear me?
We got you. Yeah, we gotta check the lineage, bro. We gotta check the.
We do.
We gotta check it. All right, here we go. Let me check the deck. All right, we are good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna populate the judges, and then when everyone is in here, you'll be good to go. And we'll pop in and let you know.
Cool. Good to go. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Andrew. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Lifted, and we're equipping school teams and families with technology to close the achievement gap for the 1 in 5 students who learn differently. So this is Haroon, who I met a few years ago. He has autism. He was age 6, and he was learning at about a 1-year-old's level. He's one of 7.5 million students with a wide variety of learning disabilities, and the majority of them have average or above average IQ. Yet every single school year, they score well below national math and reading proficiency levels. It's not because they're less intelligent, rather it's because their educators lack quality tools to address their unique needs. And when that happens, parents sue school districts and it costs them about $5 billion a year. It's why we created Lifted. It's cloud software designed for school teams, teachers, specialists, therapists, to deeply understand each student's unique learning barriers, save time planning instruction, and then use data to improve learning all in one place. When COVID-19 struck and caused school closures, it exacerbated vulnerabilities and inequities for students with moderate to severe learning disabilities. Parents have and continue to struggle to support these learners who can't learn independently while they're receiving instruction through a computer screen or receiving e-therapy. However, for Lifted, the move to distance learning actually increased our weekly usage. It's been a tailwind. So the number of sessions per user has increased 3x, and we've seen demand increase over 500% in our demo requests and inbound demand. School directors like Jared from the School for the Blind out in Arizona praise our ability to support them in uncharted waters. He's one of many. We listen closely to our customers, and we've also surveyed the market, trying to figure out the best way to support struggling parents and families at home. And we reacted very quickly. We developed Lifted for Families. It's a new module within our existing solution that allows HIPAA and FERPA compliant two-way messaging between school teams and parents and caregivers. So it's real-time language translation that allows educators to talk, as well as share instructional support materials, video recordings. We've made it completely free through the summer school program, as well as opened up a direct-to-consumer model to sell directly to families, as well as educators individually. This past school year, we cemented a model and we doubled our revenue, getting to about $300K in annual revenue. We have a path to $1 million despite COVID in the upcoming school year through a number of methods, which I can describe afterwards in questions. We're absolutely the team to do this. My co-founder, Joanne, has a deep background in special education, classroom teaching, as well as district sales. We've led product, user experience design, and engineering teams for nearly a decade for Fortune 100s. We're raising $1 million in total with the $25K today. We're hoping to use to underwrite the cost of implementing Lifted for free in our new school programs this summer. With the total round number raising, we'll achieve $1 million in revenue and product market fit in the upcoming school year. Thank you.
Thanks for this presentation, Andrew. There aren't many people of color in ed tech, and so it's really great to hear about what you're building, your team. I'm curious about pricing structure and really sort of the existing customer breakdown, like where they plug in, how many school districts, how many families, how many people using your free tool.
Yeah, so our free tool is going to release on June 1st. That'll be the Lifted for Families module you just saw. Today, our pricing structure works as a subscription base. So we charge per staff member, and we allow them to use it with up to 15 students. And there's different tiers. So if you're a paraprofessional, like an assistant, you're paying about $200 a year. If you are a teacher or a therapist specialist, it's on the order of about $400 a year. And when you do the math, it works out to be about $30 per child. We sell that directly to school districts, and our contract values are about $21,000 a year.
How many school districts? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. We have so 14 contracts across public districts and a few alternative schools. So non-public schools that receive students who can't be served in the public setting. And that spans 140 schools and 100 private homes that are within those 14 contracts across 4 states.
Hey, Andrew. Question on seeing that you have had such a growth trajectory with going directly to families. I think that's what I heard. Curious about how you think about continuing to sell to districts in the future post-COVID, or do you think that you might have more success going directly to families?
Yeah, so we're experimenting and iterating. Honestly, the direct-to-consumer model for families, we typically will work with a therapy center. So the students receiving in-home services that have been contracted by the therapy center already, and then they're buying Lifted, and they're passing the cost off to the parent. So the parent will pay us about $400 a year. And that's because we're competing with products that are typically clinical-based, and they're usually $600 to $800 a year. Obviously, we need a lot more scale to have the same value as we would with one district contract. With all the budget cuts that are happening nationally right now, we do have an approach. We're a part of a number of special education cooperatives and purchasing platforms, and we've got 90% retention. So we're going to leverage our referral network to continue growing within the districts that we have contracts with, and the counties that they're in, and kind of seeing what happens with budget cuts over the next few months. But as of right now, our plan is to continue in the school model and see where things can go on the parent side.
Hey, Andrew, great presentation. My question goes back to the last slide. I may have missed this, so I apologize. But I think you said that the $25,000 would go towards grants. Can you talk to us about that decision as opposed to continuing to generate revenue?
Oh, no, sorry. That might have been a misunderstanding. So I was saying that the $25,000 grant would go towards underwriting our costs for actually doing this completely free. So in order to build up our funnel, with this bottom-up approach, direct to consumer, we're giving Lifted away for free, and that's kind of the trend right now in K-12. People giving away the products for free. They understand the pricing points once it's no longer free, but that incurs a lot of cost for us. Like we're using Twilio, for example, to handle all of our messaging. We're doing HIPAA compliance, which is not cheap. Actual file sharing, so MMS file storage, and then implementation. So when we actually go out and we do these new contracts, we have to support them through training, ongoing support. We're eating all of those costs for 2 months across every new school district and school that wants to use us. So we're using the $25K to help underwrite that. And then the rest of the money we're raising is supporting Lifted as a product.
And so when do you see people convert after you kind of get them into your ecosystem?
July 31st. So we're offering Lifted in the extended school year. So typically a student with a learning disability is always in extended school year programs that start June 1st, and they're either 4 to 8 weeks. And then right after that, when we go into the new school year, August is when we would start converting.
Okay.
I love what you're building. I started my career in ed tech. I'm still kind of in ed tech, but just for entrepreneurs. So really appreciate the problem you're solving and the thoughtfulness behind it. And just like Maisha said, the representation of who's leading this. That's so important. So I was going to ask a very similar question to Ryan. So let me choose a different question. I think I heard you say in response to Jules' question about are they therapy centers, or there's a go-between from the school to the therapy center to the parent, and you are forming relationships with the therapy center, but you're also competing with clinical, it sounds like, based solutions. And so, but you have a lower price point. So how do you plan on beating out these clinical solutions in the long run?
Yeah, there's a few ways. It's a great question. So there's two methods. One is our solution now is direct to consumer for the educator as well. So if I'm an educator supporting a private home, then I could purchase Lifted for my own usage with X number of students. So there's a way that we could kind of bifurcate this all together. Our model today that's worked and we've been able to charge the $400 per year for a family is being contracted through the therapy centers. And in that path, to answer your question directly, the way that we've approached it is it's truly like usability and the solution being designed to support not only like the clinically trained behavior analysts and therapists who are using like very discrete ways of instruction. Those products tend to not work because they're really hard to use with really steep learning curves, and they're really made for like a clinical model. The people who are actually using them in the home are teachers and they're providers who need, like, they want Gmail to work like Gmail works. So we really lead with being truly like UX and product driven and making the onboarding process and the solution itself very easy. And then the support side, that's the last piece I'd add. Today, you typically buy the product off the shelf and you opt into additional support that you pay for, whereas that's just part of our package. And we give you 24-hour support online as well as over the phone and email.
Hey, Andrew, thanks again for your presentation and congrats on the existing contracts. What I want to know is centered around your competition. You guys seem like you have an upward trajectory now. Can you just talk to me about, why are your clients choosing you and who have you identified as your largest competitor?
Yeah, so by far our biggest competition is homegrown systems, paper, pencil, spreadsheets, teachers who are trying to use their own collection of tools to do what we're doing. Taking data on a student's progress, whether that's behavioral, academic, plotting those data points on a graph and looking at trends over time. The solutions that are trying to compete with us, what tends to happen is they'll be vertical specific. So the beauty of Lifted is that we'll come into a school and we'll say, you're the speech therapist, you're the occupational therapist, you're the teacher, you're the teaching assistant, you are the case manager. This is your one-stop shop. Whereas the tools that we tend to compete with will say, all right, we have a great speech therapy tool, or we have a great behavior tracker tool, or we have a great goal tracking solution. And there are a ton of those that you can download out of the App Store, which they don't scale well. They're not made for district level implementations. And then the other side of it is like the big ERP legacy special education compliance management systems. They don't compete with us directly, but they're trying to build out the vertical to say, like, we do compliance really well. We manage like student information records. How do we get into like the daily instruction and progress monitoring piece? And we just got to compete. We got to do it better and faster.
All right. Great job, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's how you represent the family. That's how you represent. Nah, listen, bro. I love it. Listen, we're going to get into deliberation and we'll bring you back. So appreciate you, bro. Great presentation.
It's great. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I've been chat on this side, man, and a lot of things are coming up. A lot of common themes are coming up. I think number one, everyone's very proud of the entrepreneurs. I think everyone's also just very proud of the judges and the questions that they're asking. They're like, ooh, Maisha, great question. Or like, ooh, Jules going to come with that heat on this one. So I think that's also pretty solid. But then I think what's really interesting, a thing that I saw, and again, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of followers, right? But a lot of these companies, less than 100 followers on Instagram, less than 200 on Instagram, right? But on track to doing 300,000 in revenue. And so I think just, being a real entrepreneur, right? Being someone that is, can balance the public spotlight and the fame and all that comes with being a founder, but also being able to do the real work, right? Do the hard work, the late nights. So this is great. So what everyone doesn't see on the back end right now, what's happening is the judges are leaving the backstage and they're heading over to deliberate in another stage area. What also is happening backstage is we have Barry Givens, who's a partner at Collab, and we have Omar. Omar, who's an assistant professor at Princeton, but also was the co-founder of BlackPlanet.com. This was important for us to bring him on. Trayvon,
sure.
You want to speak a little bit why we felt it was important to try to go convince Omar to come on today.
Yeah, I mean, so for a couple of different reasons, right? I think the big one is just where we are right now as a country, but more specifically, how many connections there are to the Black entrepreneur and policy, right? So there's a lot of different, touch points in between, right? There's community advocacy, there's education, there's economic equity, all these little pieces, right? And usually, and I'm just kind of speaking from my experiences, I have to go find one person in each one of those slots. Because my person who knows policy doesn't really, want to lean into the startups conversation. My person who, loves startups, they don't really want to, lean too much into the, DEI conversation, right? So they keep their bottom line separate. One thing that I think that we have with our keynote today is someone who really believes in all of them and has believed in all of them, right? So his story arc represents the belief in all of those different things that I just explained that are usually held in silos. He's attacking them all at once. And so I'm super excited to hear from this. I think that at least for me, from what I understood, there's even more on the table. So the gems that are going to happen today are going to be great.
This is going to be exciting. So here's what I need everyone to do. We're going to bring the DJ back up. We're going to bring Nate, our graduate who graduated just yesterday. We're going to bring him back up. Everyone also, when you get a chance, after you hear Nate, go to the expo. Go check out those companies. You can go learn more. You can go to their websites, go to their Instagrams. Come back in about 6 minutes, and we're going to be able to see Omar and Barry talk about it. If you're on Black Twitter, go get Black Twitter here right now. This is legendary stuff. So Nate, let's go, buddy. Bring us home.
This is gonna be hard. All right, bet.
Keep the king on.